In the transitional program written by Trotsky in 1938, Trotsky began, "The world political situation as a whole is chiefly characterized by a historical crisis of the leadership of the proletariat. The economic prerequisite for the proletarian revolution has already in general achieved the highest point of fruition that can be reached under capitalism. Productive forces stagnate. Already new inventions and improvements fail to raise the level of material wealth. Conjunctural crises under the conditions of the social crisis of the whole capitalist system inflict ever greater deprivations and sufferings upon the masses. Growing unemployment in its turn deepens the financial crisis of the state and undermines the unstable monetary systems. Democratic regimes as well as fascists stagger on from one bankruptcy to another. The bourgeoisie itself sees no way out. In countries where it has already been forced to stake its last claim upon the card of fascism and now toboggans with closed eyes toward an economic and military catastrophe. In the historically privileged countries, those in which the bourgeoisie can still for a certain period permit itself the luxury of democracy at the expense of national accumulations, all of capital's traditional parties are in a state of perplexity bordering on a paralysis of will." Trotsky went on, "International relations present no better picture. Under the increasing tension of capitalist disintegration, imperialist antagonisms reach an impasse at the height of which separate clashes and bloody local disturbances must inevitably coalesce into a conflagration of world dimensions. All talk to the effect that historical conditions have not yet ripened for socialism is the product of ignorance or conscious deception. The objective prerequisites for the proletarian revolution have not only ripened, they have begun to get somewhat rotten. Without a socialist revolution in the next historical period at that, a catastrophe threatens the whole culture of humankind. The turn is now to the proletariat, i.e. chiefly to its revolutionary vanguard. The historical crisis of humankind is reduced to the crisis of revolutionary leadership." This was written in 1938, but look at the situation today. Whereas our panel pointed out yesterday, the survival of the planet literally depends on the ability to revive the revolutionary movement for socialism, to put an end to this degenerate capitalist system that causes crisis after crisis, destruction after destruction, and must be overthrown. Monica earlier referenced Lenin's seminal work on the building of the party, What Is to Be Done. And in What Is to Be Done, Lenin contrasted what he called trade union consciousness, the consciousness that the workers organically develop to resist against their oppression and to find organizational forms, which he said develops spontaneously. It's a spontaneous expression of resistance, to socialist consciousness, the consciousness to elevate that struggle into the kind of struggle that can challenge the capitalist system and put forward the vision of socialism, which is the only way to even win reforms in the period we exist today. And Lenin, of course, pointed out that the task of the Revolutionary Party, of the revolutionary vanguard, is to bring that socialist consciousness to the masses. It comes from outside. And of course, the only way to do it is by having a party steeped in the struggles of the masses, but to bring in that consciousness, of revolutionary consciousness of socialism to the masses. But the consciousness of socialism, that consciousness doesn't just develop spontaneously either, and a party cannot just be built spontaneously. Activism is critical. And of course, that's never been a problem in our party. We have the greatest activists in the country sitting right here in this room. But we also have to have a living life to the party, an independent life in the name of the party to attract the most revolutionary elements to us so we can grow and build and become the kind of force that can really take on this rotten system. In Michigan, in the last couple of years, one of the most significant developments for us, and we have a branch that's very much steeped in the mass struggle. We have to be. We live in a city that's in a disaster because of the role of the banks in the capitalist system. And we're steeped in the mass struggle. In fact, we have every week for the past 10 years, we have mass organizations that meet, whether it's on the anti-imperialist struggle and on the moratorium now, the anti-foreclosure struggle. But significantly in the last 2 years, we also began having Marxism classes 2-3 times a week on Saturday nights. And it was those classes, I really believe, that gave us a way to bring in a new revolutionary current of youth who were studying Marxism on their own, based on their own alienation, 18, 16 years old, studying Marx, reading like we read when we were first activists, and looking for a revolutionary party, and came to us because we had the classes, we had the forum ready to integrate them, and we're proud today that 7 of them have joined the party in the last year. And the oldest among them is 23 years old, and if those youth, if that current exists in Detroit, you can believe it exists all over the country, and we gotta find them and provide a method to bring them in to our organization, to build ourselves into the organization that can challenge the system.